Alright, so the entire flow of thoughts and feelings in a nutshell goes like this. You experience an event/sensation. You feel an emotion. You think a thought, and then you exhibit a behavior. Okay, so what happens when we skip a step? There we have it. This is level 1 in a nutshell. If you can, try imagining being a bug or an ant. The ant smells a thing, searches for food, identifies it, returns home, and then brings the rest of the colony. While the process seems sophisticated, you know that the ant isn't consciously making these decisions. This process happens as a survival mechanism based around pheromones. And this survival mechanism can be easily tricked, so that if a mistake happens in the process, the ants can get stuck in a loop and go into a death spiral, and all the ants die from exhaustion. Ants can't think themselves out of it. And so it's kind of important to remember, when it comes to levels aren't just about wanting things, it's also about getting things and doing things. You need to perform the end action and behavior as a result. If you want to go a little deeper, you're going to have an end conclusion or ideal or philosophy that is the culmination of all of your experiences put together. So the question then is, what thoughts and feelings lead to the end behavior of the result? So what really defines level 1 more than anything is immediacy and instantaneousness? Is that right?
Want to see me run to that mountain and back? You want to see me do it again?
So for example, you're hungry, you want food, and then here's the kicker, you go get the food. You don't think about the end consequences of the behavior if something goes wrong. You also don't think of the end consequences of the behavior if something goes right. You just do.
They aren't just looking for recyclables like aluminum or cardboard. They're hunting for edible gold. Trash bags from major fast food chains are the most prized. Why? Because they contain the leftover fried chicken, burgers, and ribs that customers didn't finish. For someone living on less than $2 a day, finding a bone with a bit of gristle is like hitting the jackpot.
There's only one level 1 behavior that we truly exhibit today, and that is the flight or fight response. Jump scare pranks are kind of dangerous because you can't be certain of what the response will be when you actually scare someone.
Jesus!
And it's weird because we treat this behavior as if it's an impulse, but it's only an impulse because the entire time we are not being impulsive. Level 1 it's as if you're in a constant state of impulsivity. That's why it's hard to really imagine. You can't think about it. Everything is an action of just doing. Impulse is kind of weird because we can only define impulse in contrast to what it's like to not have an impulse. But if everything is impulse, then is it actually impulse? No. It's important to remember, and this is going to feed into the entire dynamic as we go deeper. You don't lose levels as you go up levels. And level 1 is extremely important, and everyone forgets about this level. Level 1 exists our core emotions of pleasure and pain, which defines our ego. It's the core of the ego. And when our ego gets tested, usually we retaliate in response. The first emotions we exhibit after a painful response are going to be anger or fear. These are the fight or flight response. And I usually like to measure the emotion of anger because anger is a survival emotion right after fear. Anger is also one of the fastest emotions to exhibit, and it's also one of the most expressive emotions to exhibit. Everyone recognizes it when it happens. Everyone sees it when there's an explosion. It's something that everyone can relate to universally.
That's what we're trying to find out. We're trying to find out who killed him, and where, and with what. There's no need to shout. I'm not shouting. All right, I am. I'm shouting, I'm shouting, I'm shouting.
If you look at a cat trying to protect her babies, the cat will stand on its haunches and slowly back away. That is fear. However, in retaliation, it'll also hiss and snarl at you to try to scare you away. That hissing and snarling isn't fear. That is using anger to make yourself look bigger and badder. If we go up to higher levels, whenever you are controlling your anger, that is you using your awareness.
Like to have like, you don't understand, like I truly have a deep down urge to kill somebody. Like I can't, it doesn't go away. And now mind you, we could probably agree that it's because you have so much trauma and you're victimized that like, that's your way of like protecting you and saying that if you go and kill somebody, like you'll be happy, you know? And then the problem is like, it makes me volatile. So I don't really, even to this day, like I don't go out much.
You can't trust yourself, probably.
I can't trust myself.
I don't like to use fear because fear is easier to hide. Anxiety is a byproduct of fear, and people go to work and interact with people while having anxiety all the time. Anger is explosive, it's outward. Fear is inward, it's reductive. So, and while fear is involved in levels, you know, I can't predict or see everything. People hide fear better than they hide anger. And then other emotions can break the ego too. They are just less common and harder to outwardly see. For example, love often breaks the ego. You find your dream relationship, the sensation of happiness skyrockets, which then reframes the ego and restructures the sensation of pain. So your pain tolerance threshold has shifted. This creates a sensation of FOMO, fear of missing out, and then this sensation redefines everything that you want in life. So because you created imbalance of pleasure and pain, you no longer have this pleasure anymore because you want that thing. Okay, in order to achieve that thing, you have to, well, change. And very often this is what causes an individual to want to settle down with a family. And this isn't universal at every level either, but it can happen. But I digress a little. I'm not going to go through a whole list of every emotion and how that emotion can potentially cause an ego death. That could be literal days, maybe even a potential new series. However, we need to move on. Just know that anger and its close relative frustration are the main emotions I try to gauge when identifying levels. Because again, we never truly lose levels. This whole process of understanding the flow of thoughts and feelings and the emotion of anger is why I use ego as a loose, undefined measure of being able to gauge someone's level. It's not an exact science, but it's a good, decent signpost. However, it is still more complicated than that. Just something to be aware of. For humans, because we humans are incredibly complex, we can build our ego around our philosophy and belief systems, not just our survival instincts. The question then is, how invested are you into your belief system? What happens when that belief system breaks?
People hold the position.
This guy's not serious and I'm leaving. James, if you want a refund, you let me know.
Good day, sir. And I'll cover your refund, Mr.
Cool.
Matt.
He just said he'd cover my refund.
I would cover his refund.
No. No, I'm not going to dignify a debate with someone who walked in to trash talk people and be smug and all of the things that he's being right now. He's already said he will cover my expenses. You don't have anything to worry about. This debate is over. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Jackass.
This is why the lower the level you are, the more prone to outbursts and anger you become. You don't have that awareness preventing you from controlling that anger. However, and we'll get more into this later down the road, the second defining trait of measuring levels is complexity. Just being angry isn't the only measure. The other is the complexity of your belief system. The ego is a tool. Emotions exist for a reason. The ego is a survival mechanism. It's not just a sense of pride or a sense of narcissism. We need the ego to help protect us in times of need. And in that context, there is a difference between being angry at someone because you don't understand and then being angry at someone because you do. We will see that complexity eventually. It will come. Don't worry. Anyway, that's all I got for this subject so far. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. The next will go even deeper. Don't forget to like and subscribe.